Hey y'all, I'm Matt Pittman. Welcome to my outdoor kitchen, AKA the Meat Church. So today I'm gonna show you guys how to brine and smoke the perfect turkey. So we're gonna start with a fresh 12-pound turkey. I don't like to cook turkeys that are too big. This is a good size for an average family. If you're feeding a bunch, maybe you wanna do a big old turkey. One of the things I think is most important is I like to brine my poultry before I smoke it. I want to impart as much moisture and flavor into this bird as I can because I'm gonna expose it to heat for quite a bit of time and it could be easy to dry out. So if we throw some moisture in it, then we'll give ourselves a better chance at having a nice juicy turkey. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our bird bath, our poultry brine. This is great for chicken or turkey. When you're brining turkey, all you've gotta do is dump this entire package into 1 gallon of water and drop your turkey in. You wanna kind of fill it up to make sure you've got enough to cover the entire turkey, but it's that simple. So we're gonna mix it up. Today, I've got a Yeti gallon container, nice and handy, 1 gallon, and I'm gonna take this package, I'm gonna dump the entire contents into it. And you can either whisk this up, put the lid on, shake it up real good, make sure you've got it nice and stirred. Some people even like to warm it to try to make sure you're completely dissolved. I think this is just fine. I'll probably put the lid on, shake it up a bit. So it's important that you brine your turkey in a food-safe container. You don't want to go to your local home improvement store and buy a 5-gallon bucket. Those aren't good. If you don't have a bucket, you can use a brine bag or something like that. I recommend the Yeti loadout bucket. This is a fairly new product that they have that is food safe. They're really inexpensive, can be used for a lot of things. So we're going to take our turkey, we're going to just drop it down in the bucket. And then we're going to take our brine mixture that we've mixed up and we're going to pour it on top. And pour the whole thing in. You want to make sure your turkey's completely submerged. So if you don't have enough water here, just add a little more and you're done. All right, now this brine isn't too crazy. And you know, if you want to add some more stuff to it, you're welcome to. Some people like to put some herbs in. Some people like whole black peppercorn. Some people like orange slices. Feel free to dump anything you want else in to, add to your flavor profile. I'm going to put the lid on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this down in a Yeti tank surrounded by some ice, and I'm going to let this thing sit overnight. It's time to pull it out, rinse it off, and let's get it seasoned and on the cooker. So it's really important that you completely get all of this brine mixture off of your turkey. Otherwise, it's gonna end up being pretty salty. So we're gonna kind of let this drip off, then we're gonna rinse it off thoroughly in the sink and pat it dry before we season it. So we've rinsed our turkey off and patted it completely dry. Now it's time to season it. So we got a lot of choices you guys can use. Any of these rubs are good. Honey Hog, which is an all-purpose rub with some honey powder added for sweetness. We've got a honey pecan, otherwise known as D's nuts. Always a big favorite at Thanksgiving. Plus, it's fun to tell your family they got these nuts in their mouth. Or you can use our all-purpose rub, the Gospel. Today, we're gonna use Honey Hog, my favorite. And I want this to look nice and pretty, so I'm gonna thoroughly cover this bird. Remember, eat with your eyes first, so I want it to look nice and pretty. Pay attention, season it nice and evenly. And you just have to do this right before you're gonna put it on your cooker. So we're gonna let this sit, let this rub adhere. You don't need any oil, any binders, anything like that. You can see if you just let this sit for about 5 minutes, kind of sweat out, it'll start to pull the moisture out and this will be nice and adhered and we'll put it on our cooker. All right, so we've got a lot of cookers in the Meat Church Live Fire Kitchen, but today we're gonna cook our turkey on a Big Green Egg. We're using their all-natural lump charcoal, and we added a little bit of wood chunks to our cook. If you're gonna use wood chunks, I would stay with a lighter wood, so like a pecan or maybe even a fruit wood. I'd stay away from heavier woods like oak because that have tendency to turn your turkey kind of dark. So we've lit this egg, we've put our hickory chunks in it, we've got our convector plate in. We're gonna walk away, give this thing a few minutes to come to temp. All right, so this rub is sat for 5-10 minutes. You can see it's sweated out, completely adhered. So it's time to put this on the cooker. Ooh, got a nice police outline there. Good cutting board to clean up. All right, so we're gonna put this on the egg. We're up to 275. And we don't have to do anything other than I'm gonna open this up and check it every 45 minutes or so, check for color, and probably start to baste it with some butter or something here in a little bit. All right, night-night. So this cook is gonna take about 3 hours or so. What I like to do is I like to baste throughout the cook, and I like to baste with butter. If you're wondering if this is a healthy sport, the answer is no. I like to use Banner butter out of Atlanta, and this particular butter is their barbecue butter, which is actually made with our honey hog, which is what we season the turkey with. So you see here, this turkey's been cooking a bit. Ooh, that thing is sexy already. So I've got a little cast iron bowl here that I've melted some of this Banner butter in, and what I want to do is I like to baste it. And I try to do this without actually brushing the meat. Same thing when you cook ribs. I don't want to see brush marks. I want it to be pretty. You eat with your eyes first, so I'm all about presentation. So I want to baste this as much as you want, just when it's starting to look dry. Is anytime just reach in here, open this egg up, and just baste it a little bit. It's looking super pretty. So we're going to close this egg back up. Let this thing keep going, check on it again in about 30 minutes or so. So like I said, this cook's gonna take about 3 hours, maybe just a little bit less depending on your temperature you're cooking at. I recommend a Thermopin MK4 instant read thermometer. That way you can nail the desired doneness. I like to check in a couple places, and that turkey is looking even more sexy. I like to test right here in the joint between the leg and the thigh. Ooh, we're 168. Now the breast is going to cook a little slower, so it's not going to be quite where we need it to be yet. But if you check in the deepest part of the breast, it's not quite there just yet. So we're going to give this a little bit further. You want the deepest part of the breast to be 165. Some people like to pull off a little bit before that so that they don't dry it out. I leave that up to you, but the recommendation is to get it to 165 in the deepest part of the breast. All right, so an optional step is you could apply a glaze if you want your turkey. You don't have to do this, but I really like my buddy Craig Sherry's Texas pepper jelly, his rib candy product. Today I've got an apple cranberry habanero that goes really well on a holiday turkey in particular. This thing is gonna be done in about 10 minutes or so. Whoo, man, that looks good. So what I like to do is apply my glaze just with, like I said, about 10 minutes to go in the cook, and I'm just gonna pour it directly on here. And I've got a brush in case I need to help kind of spread it out a little bit. You can use different flavor profiles depending on what you and your family like, but I find this one is really good. Rave reviews. All right, I'm just gonna close that up and let it sit for about 5-10 minutes and we are done. All right, our turkey's done. It's 165 in the deepest part of the breast. We need to pull this thing off and let it rest, let it cool off a little bit before we eat it. So again, I've got cotton gloves on underneath my latex gloves. I'm not Superman, but man, that is looking so good. Beautiful color. I mean, this thing just looks perfect. Like I said, we're gonna let this thing rest and we're gonna carve right in. So, super beautiful color. I can tell this thing's gonna be juicy. Just gonna cut a little bit off here. Man. Okay, that's unbelievable. So, all of our recipes are at meatchurch.com. All of our information on our classes. You guys want to come to the Meat Church, take a class with me and my friends. We have a totally kick-ass time here. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I know you already follow us on Instagram. And everything you saw here today, you can get on meatchurch.com. You can find retailers close to you and get all this stuff in time for the holidays to make this thing the star of your holiday meal. So I'm going to finish cutting this thing. See you guys next time.